After beating somebody wielding a knife with the aid of a mysterious savior, Ryoko Okami is confessed to by a shy Ryoshi Marino, and subsequently turns him down. When her friend Rinko Akai does a background check on him, she decides to recruit him to the Otogi Bank, a business that fulfills various requests for students in return for some favors. A client, Kakari Haibara, arrives and requests for them to keep her senpai, Akihiro Oji, from quitting the tennis club due to an injury. The Otogi Bank tries to use Ryoshi's ability to remain unnoticed to stop Akihiro's resignation form from being approved, but with unsuccessful results. With only a matter of time before the form is handed in, Ryoshi rides Kakari to Akihiro in a pumpkin bicycle constructed by Mojilika Lefei. Though due to its lack of brakes, it crashes and Kakari ends up knocking him out, leaving her shoe behind in the retreat. Later that day, Ryoko and Ringo are confronted by the thug from earlier along with his buddies, and Ryoshi gets injured protecting her from a surprise attack. After defeating the thugs, Ryoko accepts Ryoshi as one of her companions. The next day, Akihiro, realizing by way of a Cinderella method that Kakari was the one who kicked him, promises her that they will play tennis together. Ryoshi tells Ringo why he fell for Ryoko, which Ringo tells her about later that night. The next day, while the others go shopping, Ryoshi hangs out around the Otogi Bank with Taro Urashima, who quickly gets dragged away by Otohime Ryugu when a female customer comes in, worried about having to see her violent ex-boyfriend. When Ryoko and Ryushi investigate the meeting place, it turns out to be a trap laid out by thugs from Onigashima High School. Ryoko is overwhelmed and kidnapped, while Ryoshi informs the other club members. Ryoko hides her true feelings of fear as she faces the gang's boss. Ryoshi and Ringo use his dogs to discover the base, and Ryoshi uses a wrist-mounted slingshot to attack the thugs from the shadows, helping to set Ryoko free to join the fight. When the boss tries to take Ryoko hostage, Ryoshi fights him one-on-one and manages to beat him while fueled by his feelings for her before passing out. Otohime is in a rivalry with Mumi Usami, who used to call her names when she was a chubby elementary school student. They decide to enter the Otogi Academy pageant, being loosely based off the story of the tortoise and the hare. Otohime requests the assistance of the Otogi Bank to help her win. Both sides end up using slander campaigns on their opponents, while Ryoko and the other girls somehow get entered as well. Otohime reminisces of how she first became Mimi's rival as well as Taro's friend. During the pageant, all the females showcase their swimsuit attire, catching the eyes of the audience, though neither Otohime or Mimi end up ranking. However, List Kiriki tells Otohime that she won the attention of Taro as her only vote. When Ryoshi protects Otsu Tsurugeya from a stray baseball, she, being obsessed with repaying favors, becomes his maid and does all various things which makes him uncomfortable. While visiting Ryoshi's house to check on the situation, Ryoko and Ringo meet his aunt named Yukime Murano, an author whom Ryoko is a big fan of, who points out Ryoko's potential feelings for Ryoshi. Otsu soon gets a fever from overworking and collapses due to fatigue. The others learn about Otsu's childhood, where she was protected from a car by a boy who died before she could thank him, resulting in her having a fear of being unable to return favors. Ringo comes up with the idea of having everyone dress up as maids and serve Otsu, reminding her that there is no such thing as favors between friends. Ryoko has trouble dealing with Momoko Kibutsu, a disciplinary Kami member who is also a bisexual with a crush on her. Momoko comes to the Otogi Bank to request assistance for an attack on Onigashima High School. After getting through the initial waves of delinquents, the members are soon separated and communications are blocked off. Ryoko soon comes against Onigashima's student council president, Shiro Hitsujikai, who Ryoko fears greatly until Ryoshi and the others arrive to back her up, asking him to keep the delinquents in check. As the group wonders just what Shiro may be up to, Ryoko thanks Ryoshi for helping her. Concerned about Ryoko, Ryoshi meets up with Ringo to ask her about her relationship with Shiro, though she says it would be best to ask her himself once he gains her trust. Ringo recalls when she first met Ryoko in middle school and saw her true side for the first time, noticing Ryoko pushing herself and getting into needless fights to hide her true feelings. Ringo came to understand her and offered her friendship. Ryoshi recalls when he first started observing Ryoko, and inevitably falling in love with her, and deduces to become stronger so he can protect her. A girl named Ami Jizo has been secretly preparing food for baseball player Jin Hanasaki, as she has a crush on him but is too shy to talk to him. Although he does not have feelings for her, he offers a date to repay her, with Ringo making it a double date with Ryoko and Ryoshi to ease her nerves. They go to the cinema, the arcade, the pet store, and the park, Halfway through the date, Ryoko spots a cat stuck up a tree and upon going to rescue it, falls into the pond and hits her head. She wakes up contracting amnesia, believing she is 13 years old, and has a completely different personality to her usual self. While Ryoshi looks after her in this state, Ami and Jin are left alone on their date. When Ryoshi and Ringo try to figure out how best to deal with it, Ryoko feels she is being ignored and runs off to the rain, where she runs into Shiro. As Ryoshi catches up to her, he learns that Shiro assaulted her when she was younger and that he was unable to convince her classmates of the truth. In response, Ryoshi swears to hunt him down. However, Shiro, before taking his leave, says that his story was just a lie. Ryoko later regains her memories, while Ami and Jin's date ended well enough. The Otogi Bank receives a request to find Shutaro Nezumi, the heir to a large company and bride, before his 12th birthday. Alice Kikiri along with Ami and Otohime are listed as candidates, but are rejected by Hamel, his butler, for their personality flaws. After several other failed candidates, some of which are from a certain scientific railgun and Toradora, such as Mikoto Misaka, Hamel inadvertently insults Ryoko, Ringo, and Momoko. Later on, Hamel points Chutaro in the direction of Wika, his childhood friend. The two get together, but Ryoko and the other girls are not happy about the pointless request, so List buys them all expensive cakes in apology. Ringo is having trouble confronting her friend, Himeno Shirayuki, who looks after 7 siblings. When Ryoshi inquires into the matter, Ringo explains that 3 years earlier, shortly after she became friends with Himeno, she discovered that they were half-sisters. Himeno's mother and their father had just finalized their divorce, and Ringo and her mother moved into the house, displacing Himeno and her mother. Feeling as though she had forced Himeno out of her home, Ringo was unable to bring herself to talk to her since. The following day, the Otogi Bank, along with Himeno and her siblings, go to a swimming pool and Ringo watches from afar. When Himeno almost drowns after rescuing one of her siblings, Ringo saves her using CPR, and the two finally have their long-awaited reunion. The next day, Ringo convinces the school director, Rampu Aragami, to give Himeno a special scholarship to university. The Otogi Bank learned that someone has leaked information about their secret underground base to the press, believing it may be the work of Shiro. They decide to hold a discount on requests, which makes everyone very busy. Ryoko, who had a strange dream involving Ryoshi, starts avoiding him. Later, Ryoshi encounters a cat-like boy named Saburo Nekomiya, who offers to train Ryoshi to be a real man. Meanwhile, Ryoko and Ringo find a beaten-up Onigashima High School student named Reiko Kokono injured outside their dorms. She explains that she was a girlfriend of Shiro who was cast aside and left at the hands of the delinquents. Ryoko allows Reiko to stay with her while arranging for her to transfer to Otogi Academy. While Ryoshi trains with Saburo, Ringo asks Lise to look into Reiko's background, while Otu keeps watch over her. However, Reiko turns out to be working for Shiro, and this is part of his plan. Otu, Ryoko, and Otohime are kidnapped, throwing the Otogi Bank into disarray. Ryoshi continues his training with Saburo. A call from the president interrupts the lesson, and he learns of Ryoko's kidnapping. Ryoko wakes up in Onigashima High School, where he is confronted by Shiro. Elsewhere, Taro rescues Otohime, Majolika rescues Otsu, and List saves Alice and Mimi. Ryoshi and Saburo break through Onigashima's defenses with the help of Momoko and her subordinates, along with the reunited members of the Otogi Bank. Saburo finally explains that he decided to train Ryoshi because he once abandoned Ryoko when she was in danger and felt guilty. Soon after, Ryoshi faces Shido and, while initially overpowered by his fighting ability, remembers his training and feelings and lands a hit on Shido before List arrives and declares the fight over. After Ryoko thanks everyone, they return to their daily routines. A poor paper girl named Machiko Himura notices her classmate Ryoshi leaving his dorm to walk his dogs and mistakenly believes that the Onetashi dorm is a single residence and that his family owns it, which technically it does since his aunt and uncle are its proprietors. Believing she can marry out of property, Machiko confronts Ryoshi in class the following day and asks him to marry her. Later, to further her plans, she requests a date with him through the Otogi Bank. Ringo manipulates Ryoko's feelings for Ryoshi and gets her to follow him on his date, hoping that she will be more honest about herself. The date progresses well when Machiko abruptly ends it. A confused Ryoshi leaves but returns in time to save Machiko from loan sharks. A grateful Machiko reveals her motives for the date and proposal, which is that she's been paying off the family debt with the money from her part-time job. But her father ran away with the latest payment. Ryoshi, angry not at Machiko but at the situation life has put her in, calls the Otogi Bank to arrange matters. The loan sharks reappear, and Ryoshi takes them on, with Ryoko joining the fight unexpectedly. After the debt collectors are arrested, the Otogi Bank pays off Machiko's debt and arranges for her to become a tenant at the Otohashi residence. That evening at Machiko's housewarming party, Machiko wants to confess again. But before she can, Ryoshi tells Machiko that he can be manly because of Ryoko, who happens to be eavesdropping. Machiko later bluntly asks Ryoko if she likes him. She says that she does not dislike him. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you in the next one.